climate change crisis. So also ask ourselves, question, what can I do? And as an organization or institutions, what are you doing? Laudato Si emphasizes caring for the environment and people in the broader concept of integral ecology. Its subtitle, Caring for Our Common Home, further encapsulates the idea of integral ecology, arguing a holistic approach that highlights social dimensions and interconnectedness of all living beings. My understanding of Laudato Si is about growing in wisdom to recognize that we are interconnected and everything exists because of a creator. So, valuing our interconnectedness with creation and being aware of the creator and the physical environment around us with all its beauty to be preserved, and considering the future of the young generations, because that's where our future lies, and prioritizing the needs of the poor whom we encounter on daily lives as our brothers and sisters, is the notion that St. Francis, the patron of ecology, who always prayed a canticle of creation saying, "Make me a channel of your peace." It's a prayer in which I find peace, and I also always encourage nature lovers to embrace. Now, when we look at Laudato Si as a social encyclical, here Pope Francis emphasizes a transformative encyclical that examines moral questions and addresses justice and peace issues, which engages the realities and the moral challenges in our time as illuminated by the faith. One might ponder whether a paradoxical solution to social challenges lies in the inherent self-interest of individuals. But if we genuinely wish to confront climate change and its related issues, such as mental health, poverty, hunger, loss of life, we must boldly unite with others owing to the fact that this issue affects us all, regardless of where we come from. And for me, this international gathering is very meaningful. You might ask, what role does the Laudato Youth Initiative play? We unite young people for climate action. If you look into the images here, you will see something. And when I refer to young people, I mean everyone is included, since they do not exist in isolation. We harness digital media to inform and shape societal mindset through real life stories and audio-video content, inspiring people to utilize indigenous knowledge and take small yet impactful steps, such as participating in tree planting campaigns. And this year, we take pride in having planted over 9,000 trees as part of our goal to plant 1 million trees. We mentor youth leaders, and you'll hear from many of them, and engage in interfaith dialogues with other people in different faith groups. We promote waste management and also a campaign against carbon footprint mitigation. We hold youth conferences and conduct research initiatives that deepen the understanding of climate change crisis and inform people what is going on and yet suggest viable solutions. This has been viable in helping advance innovation for Uganda's backbone, agriculture and tourism, both practices that enhance protection of biodiversity. Also manage smart gardens in institutions that teach social skills while exploring soil science and understanding how our actions affect land. They devise solutions like using organic fertilizer and composting chitin waste, transforming waste into a resource, and combating their involvement or role in the throwaway culture, thereby addressing the reality of biodiversity loss. We also recognize that failing to attend school due to adverse weather, people dying from hunger, people sleeping with no shelter, and those in the verge of war, catastrophes, and other disasters are all highlights to injustices affecting humanity in our environment and our world, and demand that our attention and action are crucial at the moment. So the lingering question for me today is, what are we going to do after this gathering? Believe me, our Laudato Si festival event that promotes service learning has taught us many things, among which is educating people in communities about climate change. We come to realize not everybody appreciates or understands the reality of climate change. So we conduct yearly Laudato Si festivals. You can see here that was our last year's event, where we gather people and go to communities, sensitize them, and engage with them in climate action, like cleanup campaigns, among others. We also engage in viable research and diverse creative solutions within our means to care for our common home. Also engaging passionately with institutions and communities through prayer and action, as inspired by Saint Benedict's phrase, ora et labora, work and pray, as best practices that help us implement the message of Laudato Si. All of us volunteer our gifts to take action. We are all committed to different responsibilities. Others are students, but we volunteer our gifts and talents, even without resources, being creative and donating our gifts like IT, public speaking, teaching, agriculture, to create meaningful impact in society. Through these efforts, we are becoming more courageous and bold in discovering creative solutions for becoming better stewards of our world, where systems and resources should serve the needs of people, as Pope Francis reminds us. When it comes to supporting the marginalized, we stand in solidarity with those in need in prayer and deed where we can. Integral education for us nurtures a hopeful vision that paves way for systemic change. Now, Catholic institutions like UIW provide a unique opportunity for students and staff to engage with the community. Students can be able to connect through programs such as service learning like we do, and I can genuinely attest to the grace and beauty that arise when we unite our efforts with other people. And we welcome those who wish to engage in this service learning program with us. I know Augustine is here listening. He does so much in finding out, doing research in communities and working with the different groups to find out creative ways we can bring truth of the reality of what is happening around us. He will be happy to have more interactions with people who may want to know more. But the essence of this integral education lies in our collaboration with others to achieve a broader impact and learn new perspectives, which I believe this conference on creation has unveiled for all of us. We are all accurately aware of the moral imperative at hand. We live in a fractured world that must seek hope from God, the Creator. It is essential to cultivate a sense of respect and dignity for all God's creation. Pope Francis recently noted in his later film documentary that the earth is nearing a breaking point. What are we failing to see? The wars, the devastating calamities, or the unwillingness to seek life-saving solutions? We must seek God's wisdom, drawing inspiration from our cultures and norms of families and institutions and organizations like the United Nations, which provides us goals like the Sustainable Goals 16 and 13, a call to action that resonate with the message in Laudato Si, while rigorously exploring how education and faith can transform us to prioritize the common good. As I conclude my presentation, I want to express my gratitude to my professors, Dr. Trey Gwynn, I don't know, you'll get this message, Dr. Kabaho, who have always and usually emphasized the importance of prudence in communication to foster a spirit of encounter with others, the spirit that allows us to learn from the communities and individuals around us. I believe that the UIW community continues to engage students in meaningful dialogue through initiatives like UIW Sustain and the collaborative efforts of Sister Martha and Sister Mary Lou with Laudato Si in San Antonio. I'm truly thankful and proud of each of you, and I'm happy to present a team of young people from the Laudato Youth Initiative, most of whom are students, like the others who may be listening, and others are mentors who both have a deep experience in influencing decision-making and action in Laudato Si related matters. Let us be courageous and bold in seeking solutions to challenges we face. We must acknowledge and embrace a call to be better stewards of our world and Mother Earth, where resources and systems and treasures that we seek lie. So let's challenge ourselves to take action and contribute to a more sustainable and equitable world for all. Praise be the incarnate word, united for climate action.
Amen.
So if there are any questions, any feedback, interaction, I'll be happy to hear or respond before I invite our next presenter.
I have the microphone and I will hand it to whoever wants to ask questions. But I want to say, Brother Adolf, you are a shining UIW graduate. Let's give him another round of applause. And I am right now sending an email to your main professor, Dr. Trey Gwynn. All right, comments, questions?
It's very inspiring. We're looking forward to hearing from all your wonderful associates over there. Will you remind us? Are you in Rome right now?
Yes.
So thanks for staying up late and joining us. Especially, I don't know, my geography is not what it used to be, but people in even later time zones as well. Anybody else?
Don't be bashful. Continue. You tell him to continue.
I think we're all here. I should mention that we've got a large group of 20 plus faculty, staff, and students here from UIW. We're all very happy to be a part of this wonderful conversation. I think without further ado, please continue.
Brother Adolf.
Yes, sister.
I have a question. Before we proceed to your associates, wonderful associates, how did it started in the most effective way to start something? I know you did a wonderful job in facilitating a lot of the things, but what's the key message that you can impart to our young people, because the Laudato Si Youth Initiative are really inspiring each other, but what's the key message about starting this clubs or the organization that you have in Uganda?
So the key message is one I mentioned, like there are two major areas that are crucial. One is acknowledging what is happening to our common home in Laudato Si chapter 1. Having read the encyclical letter, it inspired me more to find out what is actually happening in my environment. Actually, one of the presenters will talk to us, even the internal environment, even our environment is also having its own pains that sometimes we do not pay attention to. Then from my own internal environment is my natural environment. What is happening? The time I begin asking myself that question and looking at things critically and listening, I realized that actually there's a lot going on that if we just move on with life, we do not understand or may not realize it. So that is for me the first thing. Then the second thing is, what can I do if I'm to be the force for the good? Because we all desire to see a better world. How do I contribute to the better world? Is realizing a problem and being open to take action. And that's why I said for us, the Laudato Youth is about using what is within our own means. We began with our gifts, and even still now, we do all we do using our gifts, donating our gifts freely to serve. But the impact at least has given hope to other people. So for me, two things stand out. One, being aware of who we are and also the natural environment around us, and also opening up to think boldly and take the lead of taking action for the common good that I desire to see in this world, like being the force of the good by uniting young people for action.
Thank you so much for that, Brother Adolf. And I wanted to just hop in here with a comment that I'm glad you brought up something that's important, and that's climate. I forget what you called it, but panic about the climate despair, if you will. And that's something that we as concerned citizens, concerned Catholics, have to strike a delicate balance out on, because we have to remember that this is a serious problem. Otherwise, the Pope wouldn't have written an encyclical about it. But it's also a solvable problem. And what it takes is positive energy, understanding. That's what we're all here in high schools and universities, by trying to develop an understanding, a sophisticated understanding of what we can do, and then just channeling that will, the desire to be good citizens of the earth, good stewards of the earth, without despairing, without having to scare one another into it, because that can lead to trauma, bad conclusions, all kinds of things that we don't want to have to resort to. So thank you for bringing that up. I appreciate it.
Welcome, Dr.
There's so many important people in the room, and Brother Adolf, I don't know your timing, like if we've got to rush into the next presenter, but I want to say the second box that we see where you see service learning, that is Sister Mary Lou Rodriguez. We are both Incarnate Word sisters, and she is our first Incarnate Word sister from the Philippines, and she just completed a master's at Incarnate Word, and her master's project was on Laudato Si, care of creation. So we'd love to see more and more students who are doing their major papers, their thesis, their dissertations on aspects of sustainability. Okay. What should happen next? Should we go into the next speaker?
So what is coming next, I want to show you a video that we did that justifies that there is a problem. We need to take action by looking around what is happening in our environment.
not seeing it yet. Are you getting it turned on, or?
I'm trying to figure out my screen for the video. Okay, I got it here.
Okay, great. Good. We see it now. Oh, that's Sarah, my star friend for the last 3 years. She's been on Zoom with me in Young Women's Global Leadership as a high school student.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you and we can see you.
Okay, good.
Is one of the climate change effects that we are experiencing.
Yeah, we're starting to hear some sound, Brother Adolf.
Was affected by that 3 months ago, and hundreds of people lost their lives.
No, we can't see the film and we hear low volume.
In just a period of 2 months, over 50 people lost lives, while 500,000 people were affected by climate change impact in Uganda.
Okay, we hear a
Climate
voice.
change impact has greatly reduced agricultural produce leading to famine.
The point that you are seeing in the background is considered as one of the best that this area receives. It is because this town experiences high humidity throughout the year. Climate change made the situation worse by devastating economic activities and livelihoods of people in this area.
With such effects, the threat to humanity is becoming more imminent. This calls for the need to avert this devastating effect through massive tree planting, but also creating awareness. It's dangerous.
Suggest maybe we talk a little bit until we work out a way to show that film. And I do have it on my laptop if we need for me to show it rather than you, Brother Adolf.
Oh, do you have a challenge with the sound?
We cannot see the videos, Brother Adolf.
Oh,
Do you want me to share it?
you can share your screen.
You can ping to me your link and I'll share with everyone.
There's a link I shared yesterday. You have it?
Oh, that chat is gone.
Let me get it back to you. I don't
Okay,
know.
Brother Adolf, get it to Sister Mary Lou. As you are doing that, I am going to mention that on our screen, we see Abraham Garcia. He is at our Mexico City branch. He is the director of academics there. We see Adela Gott. She is right here on this campus. She is a wonderful tech. She helps us with Give Pulse and with Teams and many things. We see Alice. Alice, I don't know who you are. Would you like to
I'm sending my.
Alice and tell us who you are? Oh, wow. Alice, wonderful. She went to Incarnate Word High School in the 1960s. She is one of the most creative students I have ever had. She's an artist and she's very, very active in sustainability in the city of San Antonio. Go to the demonstrations and stand by, Alice. Okay, thank you, my dear. Then on this row, Fred Ayebale, would you like to introduce yourself? Fred? I think Fred is in Uganda. Fred, would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, Lorena says to right here. Lorena, I don't know if you have the star, Lena and Huey with you. We would love. Lorena is getting a PhD in education here. is from Laredo, and she has a master's in bilingual bicultural education.
Sister, you fine?
I got it.
And she's excellent. Is the film ready?
Yes, I'm gonna share it
Okay,
now.
great. Thank you so much.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we can see the screen, and let's try the sound. Okay, this is Sarah, who for 3 years has been in our high school girls leadership program. You don't have the sound on. Whenever you click share, in the upper right is where you turn on the sound. So you need to go back to share screen, and you need to turn on the sound. How many of you are good in Teams? I'm not yet good in Teams. We have worked 4 hours in the last 2 days.
This is minutes that you are seeing here was affected by flood 3 months ago, and hundreds of people lost their lives.
Climate change is a growing concern in Uganda, but also globally. In just a period of 2 months, over 50 people lost lives, while 500,000 people were affected by climate change impact in Uganda. Tellingly, climate change impact has greatly reduced agricultural produce, leading to famine.
The weather that you are seeing in the background is considered as one of the best this area receives. It is because this town experiences high humidity throughout the year. Climate change makes the situation worse by devastating economic activities and livelihoods of people in this area.
With such effects, the threat to humanity is becoming more imminent. This calls for the need to avert these devastating effects through massive tree planting, but also creating awareness on its dangers. Climate change impact is not only a local issue but also a global concern. It is underscored by United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 13 and 15, which talk about action to combat climate change and
Do you
its
need
impacts,
anything?
and protection,
Hello?
restoration and promotion of ecosystem, sustainable
Mouse?
forests,
No,
and
you're not able to
halting
hear it?
land degradation respectively. It is also ingrained in the Catholic Church's teaching, which is spearheaded by the Pope's encyclical.
It's not muted. So you're not able to hear anything?
I'm able to hear. I don't know what others are hearing. Or maybe we could provide a link in the chat and people can watch it at their convenient time.
Yes.
In the
I'm
interest
all,
of time, because it's getting late
yes,
for people in Uganda who want to travel home.
yes.
So just
So I'm all,
provide the link.
yes. So it's already all, the volume is high.
It's fine.
Maybe
fine.
it's
Go ahead and
it's
finish
in the room where you are. You may probably need
we can hear
to,
it. We can hear it.
you
Please
may
go ahead and
probably,
just hit play again and we'll watch it. It's fine.
okay, I pinged the video.
It's great. Go ahead. We're almost done with it. We're 30 seconds out. Please go ahead.
Okay.
Laudato Si, which lays emphasis on paying attention to the issue of climate change. Unless there is sustainable mitigation effort, climate change impacts are likely to increase.
right.
All right, thank you, Sister Edenka. Let me invite Augustine to continue with our presentation. Augustine.
Okay, good afternoon or good day, everybody. I don't know what time it is there. Should be around the morning, right here in Uganda. Somewhere about 5:40 to about 47, 42 thereabout.
Five in the
Brother could
evening.
probably help us to put up the screen.
Okay, I'm trying to share screen.
So thank you very much, Brother Otto, for your very elaborate presentation. Very good key address. And my part is just to contextualize the work we do at Laudato Youth Initiative, looking at three dimensions, from the dimension of, from the interfaith dimension, then the Catholic social teaching, and then SDGs. I'll just go right into it because so that the rest of the team, especially our students in the university, can give us their presentation. I think they're the grooms for the day. And so the work that we do from an interfaith approach to climate change, climate action, I'm going to draw my presentation from just really bits and pieces from some of the articles that we have published on our website. So if you could get some time, you could visit our website, Laudato Youth Initiative.org, and then you can read some of these articles, very, very beautiful articles from team and from the students that we have in schools and colleges. So for an interfaith approach, why the interfaith approach?
We see a blank screen. Are you showing a PowerPoint? We just see a blank screen right now.
Oh, you're not seeing a PowerPoint?
Sorry. Okay.
Great, now we see it. Looks good.
Okay, I had put full screen, it disappears.
Oh, sorry. So thank you very much, Brother Adolf. Maybe what you see, I could speak about the picture that you see on the left-hand side. So that picture was taken, was an interfaith conference on climate change and environmental care that we had 2 weeks ago in the spirit of season of creation. And we had people from the Christian, then from the Buddha, no, not Buddha, sorry, from the Baha'i, and then also from Islam, a Muslim. And it was a very beautiful time, a very interesting conversation that we had. And on my left-hand side, and from the interfaith approach, I think what I took from it that I would like to share here is our call for climate action draws heavily from our belief or our different faith beliefs, which so much converge when it comes to elements of God as creator. And so if that is true, then it makes a lot of meaning when faith leaders from different faith communities come together in solidarity and then speak and advocate for climate action together so that we can enhance and, kind of amplify the voice for climate action, the voice for care for the environment, looking at aspects of we as co-creators, humankind as stewards. A steward basically is somebody who keeps something. They make sure that whichever resources have been put available for use are used in such a way that they're equitably distributed so that everyone has enough to use. And so it becomes for us then important for us to have a quick approach towards climate action so that we can amplify that one voice. Then drawing on the custom social teaching, what comes out for me clearly is we may appreciate that we are in an age of transition. We're in an age of transition in one way or another. Globalization, multilateral partnerships across the world, a lot of tech science. We're in a digital world. We speak about the fourth revolution and all these kind of things. So we're in an age of transition. And clearly, the one thing that is so apparent to us is that I don't think we can move backwards and say, okay, you know what? Tech science has done a lot of disservice to the environment. There's a lot of climate change. Scientists are telling us if we do not reduce the global temperatures by 1.5 degrees Celsius, probably they're not even sure what's going to happen to humanity. They're not so sure what our world is going to look like if we don't slow down the rate at which climate change is taking place. So we are in that age of transition. Tech science. So when you read the social doctrine of the Catholic Church, it says that tech science is okay. However, at the core of it, it should be humankind. It should be humankind. There should be respect for everybody, respect for human dignity, respect for individual communities, especially those who are poor and for the marginalized. And why is it important? It is important. Why? Because we need to learn to consider things in their nature, things in their nature and their mutual connection in order of creation. This is number 459, the social doctrine of the church. And what we mean by things in their nature, I will give you an example. Brother, in the Laudato Youth Initiative, one of our biggest activities is tree planting. Why the tree? What does this tree represent? If I was to ask, what are the advantages of a tree? We can list about 10 advantages just in a bit. We know that they absorb carbon dioxide, they produce oxygen, it's a source of food. The roots of the trees hold soil, and so they hold the soil firm. And so when the soil is firm, there's better water absorption and water retention. Trees provide their medicinal, trees provide shades, trees provide fresh air. I mean, there are so many. So, however, when we look at Africa and the rate at which our forest cover is depleting, all at the detriment, all at the service, the selfish service of capitalistic tendencies, where a tree is seen in terms of its economic value. But when somebody sees a tree, they see money. So the Catholic social teaching is reminding us to see the tree in its nature, that all the advantages and its contribution to the ecosystem should be considered as we see a tree, not just look at it. And this can be the same. We can say this for anything. Is it wildlife? Is it the animals? Is it the wetlands, the water bodies around us? There is that particular role that they play in themselves to help us sustain the ecosystem. Then we have the ethical dimension. Humankind should treat the environment as a home and not as a resource to be depleted. It reminds me of, if you think about it, how do we, as co-creators, work of God's work of creation. Are we stewards or are we dominators? There is a tendency, a human tendency of having dominion over creation, over nature, over creatures, over the things around us. Pope Francis is very, very emphatic in his letter, in his encyclical, Laudato Si, upon this point where the mindset where humanity looks at creation as with dominion. In other words, when we have dominion over something, it is as though we can, use it whichever we like. Disregard, heedless of its advantage, heedless of its contribution to us or to even anything else. And then lastly, there is Pope Francis is also very, very emphatic on the need for lifestyle change. This is number 486 in the Social Doctrine of the Church. And one of the things that we need to change from is consumption, culture of consumption. And we adopt more generative approach, generative culture. Regenerative basically means that we use resources in the environment in such a fashion or such a design that we give them a bit of space to regenerate. This reminds me of the 3 R's, which are also very, very key and very critical at the core of the work that we do at Laudato Youth Initiative, which is to reduce, to reuse, and to recycle. Reduce is important. To reduce consumption, the food that we eat. Reminds me of the very first meeting that we had preparing for this conference, Sister Annie. I think it was somebody who gave us an experience from, I'm not so sure, was it Mexico or something? When they talked about how we use water. And then somebody made a very interesting example of how do we use water in our homes. When you're taking a shower, for instance, you just see the water keep running from the time you get into the shower until the time you get out, or at the times when you're not actively using the water, you turn it off. Just, those small, simple practices that we can adapt, that we can make part of us to reduce on the amount of things that we use. Turning off the lights. If we turn off the lights, for example, here in Uganda, most of our hydropower is of the electricity that we use is run by hydro. It's hydroelectric power because we are blessed to have dams and rivers, which dams have been built. But then if we turn off lights when we don't need them, it means that at a particular time, we shall reduce the amount of power that we use. And that means that the excess power that we have been wasting can go to people who need it. For instance, the industries. And collectively, we can reduce the power, and then that means we can reduce the amount of energy or fuel that is used to run the generators and powers. The amount of fuel has reduced. Eventually, there's a reduction in the gas emissions. So we can see how small, simple steps, individual level can now become, from a broader perspective, it can become a collective action that can then become a force that can actually reduce the pressure that we have. Lastly is just to speak into the Sustainable Development Goals, SDG 13 on climate action, and SDG 16 on building peaceful and just societies. I will leave this because I think Brother Adolf mentioned so much about it. Maybe just to talk about what comes to mind when I speak about climate action. It reminds me of there is a very, very big, popular environmental activist icon in Kenya. Her name is Professor Wangari Maathai. She passed away in 2011, but you probably know her. She's popularly known for many things. One is the popular Green Belt movement that she began in the 1970s. It was basically a network of rural women that she brought together, and taught how to plant trees and to look after the environment, to make their environments greener, to have clean drinking water and food for the animals, so food for their own families. And she's also the first Black, the first African Nobel Prize laureate in Africa. And in her book, she wrote in her book, Replenishing the Earth, she talks about environmental wounds. We can see Brother Adolf showed us some of the wounds that we have, for example, in our own country, Uganda. Probably we also know out there in the world, the droughts, drying lakes, the sight of a tree that has been cut down. It's very painful, especially for us who are so intimate with the environment. You almost feel like part of your arm has been cut. Then you, as I speak right now, in Kampala city. Kampala is the capital city of Uganda. Over the weekend, something just happened in town. I don't know what exactly is the rationale behind, but I noticed the city council filled down about should have been about 6 indigenous local trees that have been in existence probably from as long as I've been a child. Probably in the name of beautifying the city, or probably because of development. And I looked and said, these trees. So it's very painful to see that. So they create wounds, and yet in Kampala today, our temperatures for the last couple of months have been very high. So the same country talking about high temperatures during the day, and yet the trees that would help us reduce and regulate this temperature being felled. And then speaking into SDG 16, 16 is speaks into peaceful and just societies. And I will leave this because the speaker
Augustine,
after me, yes.
just one moment. I'm just
Yes.
seeing one slide here. Is it supposed to move to another slide?
No. It's just one. Just speaking
Just
into all
one.
this.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
All right. So the next speaker will speak to the SDG 16, building peaceful, just and peaceful society. So I want to thank you all, and I'll be happy just in case there's anybody who has a question. Or thank you very much.
I would intervene. Thank you so much, Augustine. Evelyn, joining us from Tanzania, has issues with power, so she requested if we can allow her present before she goes off. So in case of feedbacks, we can request after she has presented. We don't want to lose her presentation. Thank you, Augustine. Evelyn, are you there? Immaculate, sorry, confused. And Immaculate.
Yes, I am here.
Okay, please, can you go on with your presentation? Are we able to see you?
Yes. So, hello everyone. My name is Sembo Immaculate, and I'm a teacher of literature and English. So, I'm very happy to be part of this conference, and specifically, I'm going to talk about the internal environment that is mind, attitudes, and so on. So, according to Sigmund Freud, an Austrian neurologist, internal environment refers to a person's own psychological factors that influence our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. And these include our personal traits, attitudes, values, emotional intelligence, motivation, self-esteem, physical and mental health. So in my engagement with Laudato Youth and climate change issues, of course, as a proud teacher, I learned that we need to look at our internal environment in order to understand the external environment. We go into internal, then later we understand the external. And as a publication editor for over 7 editions of our very nice magazine, the Laudato Voices magazine, I have read many narratives, and this gave me a greater sense of what our young people feel about the climate change issue. And I personally have concerns when I see what is happening. So today, I specifically want to talk about the connection between climate change and mental health. For many, it is a person's emotions, psychological and social well-being. It is the presence of positive characteristics among people, such as self-awareness, resilience, health, and friendly relationship among friends and family. Now, this takes me to hit on the SDG 16, which talks about building a peaceful and just filled world for all. The reality is peace and justice prevails among an emotionally stable individual. And climate change is one of the injustices that is creating a lot of anxiety among our young people. When climate change issues hit, the young lose lives, they don't attend classes, and they're more concerned about their future. So my role with Laudato Youth has been majorly using creative writing, poetry, art, music, and so on to inspire young people to express themselves and be able to talk to each other about how each feels about this whole issue together and build resilience through Laudato clubs. And by the method. The first is mindfulness and meditation. As a teacher, I always work with my students and allow them to talk free and interact with the environment, at least every weekend. Yes, please. I'm hearing some noise.
We are fine.
Okay. Just being mindful about the needs of my students. So during these walks done by most Laudato clubs, we allow Laudato youth to encounter the reality, think, and meditate on what is happening in our common home. This has inspired the force for good that you see among our Laudato clubs, wherever they are, besides enabling mindset change. It has inspired great response to love for Mother Earth and united many young people for climate change. Secondly, it helps them build positive social connections against the forces of wrong groups that empower our youth to fight against bad habits like drinking alcohol, smoking. So instead of meeting for such, they meet for climate action and reflect on Laudato Si and learn better ways of caring for creation. As you may know, the connection will also contributes to our mental health. They influence us to take good actions if we choose the right one. There is a saying that loneliness is both physical and mental. So as a teacher, I always like to create a bond with my students through creative skill building and activities like playing, laughter, artwork, and pool gardening. So these create a good environment for opening up in case they are facing any problem. I strongly believe nature wasn't called mother for any other reason, but because it brings us together. It gives us good health, provides us with energy. And so when we interact with nature, our thoughts are calm and our mental health is relaxed. I have seen this as a big gift that Laudato Youth offers our young people in East Africa and Uganda at large today. So we also engage in hobbies like gardening, community cleanup, nature walks, and other eco-friendly activities that promote a greener environment as well as help build our mental health. Because hobbies like singing, reading novels, swimming, gardening, pruning, planting flowers can really help us forget our worries but appreciate the beauty of God's creation. Lastly, we encourage our young people to exercise regularly and eat a balanced diet. Our bodies go hand in hand with our mental state. By engaging in activities like running and eating natural foods and fruits, we reduce the risks of getting diseases that cause stress. And that explains our involvement in indigenous and tree planting. Dear people of goodwill, join us in amplifying voices for creation through our Laudato Voices magazine and unite young people for climate action in Laudato clubs. If our work has inspired you, I encourage you to look out for our wisdom-filled online magazine, the Laudato Voices, that features very unique stories by Laudato Youth and its mentors. Laudato Youth Initiative, United for Climate Action. Let's work together to reduce the deserts within our hearts. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Immaculate. Wonderful. Are we handing off to another speaker? Does anybody have questions? Okay, we have one question from the audience here, if that's okay.
Can we find those magazines just online, like on your website, or do we have to like subscribe to something to get access to them? Hello, can y'all hear me?
Hello?
I think the audience, Brother Adolf is asking if you can put the website of Laudato Si, is that right? Laudato Si Youth.
Okay, I could just do something. I have some.
Like the no subscription.
So this is the website. It's Laudato-Youth-Initiative.org.
I was asking if you all could find the magazines like on the website, or if you have to subscribe to something to get access to the magazines.
I'll repeat for us, sister. The echo won't make is not clear for me, but when you repeat, I can get it.
She's asking whether there is a subscription, but there is no subscription. You just have to access the magazine online and read. And if you also have, maybe you want to participate in by writing, you can send your story, your article, still through our email, and it can be published. Thank you.
Thank you.
So is it only
Go ahead.
is that only for Uganda, the Laudato Si Youth Initiative, or for any one member of the Laudato Si Youth who can post entries or articles in Laudato Si Youth Initiative?
Everyone can post an article with us. Actually, we really encourage more young people to publish with our magazine because we've started creating a new source of information that is really giving hope, because we began this edition by informing people what we are doing through articles and photos. But then we realized that it has a very big impact when people see what the young people are doing, both the audios and the visuals and the articles. They also feel inspired to do something. And I know Andy, a former UIW student, has always published an article in every edition of our magazine. I'll pull out one of them before we end, and people can be able to look at it as we go on. If there's not any other question, then I will hand over to the Mountains of the Moon University group led by Doreen. Doreen, are you there?
Yes, brother, I'm here.
So this is how basically our website looks, and these are the stories we are telling you that we feature. So if somebody visits, they should be able to see all these articles down here. So Doreen, you can start your presentation as I roll out something for people to be seeing. So where they can find the magazines.
Okay, thank you so much, Brother Andrew, for this wonderful opportunity. First of all, my name is Kamsava Doreen, and I'm a student pursuing a bachelor's degree in social work and social administration here at Mountains of the Moon University, found in Uganda, Western Uganda. I'm the club president, and that is Laudato Club of Mountains of the Moon University. I work with a team of around 7 members, of which they will introduce themselves. Today, in this conference, we shall basically talk about 4 main items or activities we've done here at MMU as Laudato Club team. And the first one is tree planting, and that one will be talked about by me, Doreen. The second one will be community engagement by Fred, community awareness, Gerard, and waste management by Innocent. As brother is portraying something there on the screen, I will go straight away to talk about tree planting as one of the activities we are doing here at MMU. Tree planting has been one of the best activities we've carried out here at MMU as far as Laudato Club is concerned, and we managed to plant grevillea trees, like 40 grevillea trees here at MMU around campus. These trees help to fix nitrogen in the soil, which really helps to make other natural plants grow and provide more fresh air to the people living in that community. As Laudato Club of MMU and Laudato Youth Initiative as a whole, we mainly focus on planting indigenous trees and food trees, whereby we see indigenous trees, they really help us in rainfall formation. And if we are all believers, we all know that when God finished his work on earth of creation, he handed over everything to man. So as youth of today, we take up the initiative of continuing with God's work of recreation. That's why we prioritize mostly in tree planting all over. Talking about the fruit trees, Mr. Augustine talked about how these fruit trees help us. First is that they give us food, medicine, and additionally, we see fruits really add something to our bodies, and that is mostly vitamin A, E, and C. To continue with the fruit trees, they help us really boost our immunity, which makes us strong youth that we can really go ahead and do more activities that can help in conserving the environment. During this season of creation, we really thought of how animals in the world, like how they live in a good environment. The environment is cool and everything is well. The air is good. Then that's why we came up with an idea of planting more trees and doing other activities that conserve the environment so that we can also win ourselves a really cool and conducive environment for us to live in. Then, in the process of planting trees here at Mountains of the Moon University, we did only plant trees around the university, but we went ahead to involve other stakeholders. For example, we had an engagement with a Catholic church that is neighboring our university, where we also planted more than 20 trees. We were very much excited by the community leaders and church leaders who really welcomed our idea and were impressed by our initiative as youth of today. We went ahead and planted the same trees with a Muslim community next to our campus, whereby they also had that warm welcome and join us in planting these trees, and they promised to take care of them and see them grow up to the age, up to the stage they would. We shared some of the trees to the community members around the village neighboring our university, whereby the community members and community leaders joined us in this cause, and they received the trees and promised us to really plant them and take good care of them. And that really brings out the Pope Francis' emphasis of the interfaith solidarity, whereby we had to involve different religious denominations in this cause of planting trees. Talking about the corporate social responsibility, as far as Laudato Club of MMU is concerned, I personally took a step in partnering with Absa Bank Poto branch, and we had to plant some fruit trees around the university, which among them are growing and doing well, and we're expecting the fruits in 5 or 6 years to come. So that will be really a good example of Laudato Club as far as partnership and engagement is concerned. When I look at all the activities we've done here at MMU, of which others will be talked about by my colleagues, I see this club makes us really the stewards of Earth through working towards sustainable and harmonious coexistence with all the living beings around the globe. So this Laudato Club has really helped us as MMU students. Like, it has helped us to brand ourselves and brand our university, whereby we have had an exposure with different people. We have got connections with different people who really help us most times to improve our experience, our skills, and all that. So we really give gratitude to our mentor, Brother Adolf. So this Laudato Club of MMU, in partnership with other clubs around Fort Portal, where we have Nyakasura School Laudato Club and Laudato Club of Ben Mercy, we had a nature walk to some of the good places around Fort Portal, where we really had a nice experience looking at God's creation and how those people have protected God's creation. We really appreciated it and enjoyed it, where we also borrowed knowledge and pledged our support and commitment to always plant trees and go ahead to care for them and see them grow and enjoy them. So today we see very many people going to cool places, like we voluntarily pay money to enjoy the cool environment in some places. Yet we the youth and even the old people, and everyone on earth can be that change, can cause a change, like in creating such cool and good environment where one can sit and enjoy their cool environment. To me, planting a tree is giving hope to the next generation. Today, we sit under the trees, we sit under good canopies, we enjoy fresh air because sometime back someone planted a tree. Then why not we? Why can't we also prepare the same for the coming generation? Or we can also take an initiative and prepare the best one for the coming generation so that we can really uphold God's creation. So as I conclude, I will say that as I conclude, I will say that planting a tree is really not an individual responsibility. I will say that it is everyone's responsibility. We have to join efforts to plant trees, as many trees as we can. Today, as youth, we mostly who are at the university, we have seen very many organizations plant trees and take pictures and they just go. They don't take a step to come back and check on how the planted trees are faring. But we Laudato Youth of MMU, we say that after planting a tree, we have to take back a step and see how this tree is faring. If it needs watering, we do. If it needs some nutritions, we do. If it gets some pesticides, we see what we can do so that we can really see where our impact is. So that's why we say United for Climate Action, that we really want to see our actions more than the words we see on social media and everything we see on social media. However much we do, both we plant trees, we do things on ground, and again use social media to preach the gospel of climate action. Yeah, without wasting time, and it is really getting late here in Uganda, I will call upon one of my colleagues, and that is Ayabala Fred, to talk about community engagement. Briefly, he will hand over to the next participant, and the last one will be Innocent, and we'll see how we can wind up with the conference. But otherwise, I'm so much delighted and humbled to be part of this conference and to meet these people from other countries. In case of any questions or supplement, I welcome it, but I'm so much humbled. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Doreen, for the presentation. My name is Ayamale Fred. I'm a student at Mountains of the Moon University. I'm pursuing my bachelor's degree in social work and social administration. At Mountains of the Moon University, the club of Laudato stands as a ray of hope and action, embodying the principles laid by Pope Francis, Laudato Si. This initiative encourages both the students, community, and other stakeholders, plus even the faculty and the staff, to engage in the community-driven activities that mainly promote sustainability and social justice. So basically, the club serves as an important platform for fostering a sense of responsibility and making sure that our planet is at its state. I'm going to talk about the community engagement, how best we as students of Mountains of the Moon University, have we tried our level best to make sure that the community that is surrounding us is certain of the actions and the different practices that takes place on how Laudato Youth Initiative do it. I'll first and foremost start with the awareness campaign. As students, together with the staff and the faculty and all aged students of all ages, we've tried our best to do awareness. And this awareness, we've done it on a community-based session whereby our works as MMU have passed through the community, whereby we try to engage them on how the climate changes due to the different practices that takes place, like the cutting down of trees and the misuse of waste products, as well as disposal of garbage, some different places. Then another action as a way of community engagement is creating awareness to each and every person of every age. It's not the responsibility of the old, but everyone is in a state of doing something that impacts the community. The community comprises of different people of different ages. It's their role and time to be played through us who are at least knowledgeable of some instances that takes place. We've carried out community cleanups whereby we are collecting garbage that has been disposed by individuals, like the bottles, the polythene bags, and we dispose them properly, ensure that the environment is clean. And this really has impacted the community and the neighboring individuals to be at par and know the use of how we can collect this garbage and maybe recycle it with time. Then at the University of Mountains of the Moon, we really stand on a partnership with other neighboring communities as well as organizations that also play a long path in making sure that our role and sensitization plus the community engagement is concerned. We integrate even some of the course units that we study as our intervention of creating awareness to individuals, and we engage them on how best they can conserve and preserve the environment. Then, as a Laudato Club at MMU, it's really unique. We do the integration of the Laudato Si principles as the Pope says. We develop prayer guides for environmental protection, posting reflections of Pope's encyclical as written in the encyclical of the Pope. Then also, and this has really impacted us on increasing environmental awareness and action to individuals. We've had even strong community relationships and partnerships, improved the community well-being and the quality of life. And these examples, they demonstrate how the Laudato Club has been enhanced in the community engagements by promoting environmental awareness, education, and action. So as I conclude, through this community engagement, the Laudato Club exemplifies the spirit of Laudato Si at Mountains of the Moon University, reminding us that caring for our environment is not just an individual responsibility. We embody the call to become stewards of action towards the creation, in the word of the Pope Francis. And the earth, our home, beginning to look more and more like an immense pile of fields, let us rise to the challenge and transform our community, united for climate action. Thank you so much for listening. This was my presentation as the Laudato member at Mountains of the Moon University.
Thank you so much, Fred, for that nice presentation. I will request Innocent to present first because he's running out of battery.
That was wonderful. Let's have another round of applause for our panel. You're speaking to a packed house here in San Antonio, Texas. That was really wonderful in so many different dimensions. Thank you all. Is there any questions from anyone online or here in San Antonio?
Our communication arts graduate brother Adolf, in his cardinal shirt, is in Rome, and he's the director of international communications for the Holy Cross Brothers, and he got his friends in Uganda and Tanzania to talk to us. So I really love these kinds of graduates that go out and shake up the world. And as I look at all of you, are you going to be graduates who go out and shake up the world?
Yes. There's no other questions. We'll go ahead and go to the speaker, who is Dr. Ben Bailey. Also faculty advisor for the SANE committee, student group. So let's all welcome Dr. Ben Mealy.
Excuse
Hello,
me, brother
good evening,
Adolf. Can
everyone.
we have an expert?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ernest Innocent,
Good evening.
and here in Uganda, it is actually going late because it is 25 minutes to 7 p.m. So, and I'm to present you on a topic of waste management. And we are to understand different things like understanding waste management, the current waste management practices at Mountains of the Moon University. But first of all, I need to introduce to you what waste management is like. Waste management is a critical aspect. Of environment sustainability, particularly at Mountains of the Moon University, that is located in Central Division, Fort Portal Tourism City, and that is in Uganda. The university has embraced the principles outlined by Pope Francis encyclical Laudato Si, which emphasizes care for our common home and advocates for responsible stewardship of the environment. This document below is a guiding framework for various activities aimed at promoting ecological awareness.
Everybody needs to sign in on the sign going around.
Sorry? Are you listening? Are you listening to me?
Yes, we can hear you, Innocent. Please continue.
Okay.
Yes, we are listening to you, Ari. So you are on Spotlight.
So this document serves as a guiding framework for various activities aimed at promoting ecological awareness, reducing waste, and fostering sustainable practices both within the university and the surrounding communities. So first of all, we have to understand what waste management is. That waste management involves all activities related to the collection, transportation, processing, recycling, and disposal of waste materials. Effective waste management is essential. It is essential for minimizing environmental impact, conserving resources, and protecting public health. Then I'm to highlight to you the current waste management practices at MMU, whereby we have the segregation of waste. One of the primary steps taken by Mountains of the Moon University is the segregation of waste at source. This involves categorizing waste into biodegradable, recyclable, and non-recyclable materials. This is done by educating students and staff on proper segregation techniques, whereby MMU Mountains of the Moon University reduces contamination in recycling streams and enhancing composting efforts. Then the other one is recycling programs, whereby Mountains of the Moon collaborates with local recycling companies to ensure that recyclable materials such as plastics, paper, and metals are collected regularly. The university promotes awareness campaigns about recycling benefits among students through workshops and seminars. Then the last point on this is our awareness campaigns. Mountains of the Moon University conducts regular awareness campaigns focusing on environmental education. These initiatives aim to instill a sense of responsibility among students regarding their consumption habits and generation. These awareness campaigns at times they are on the Mountains of the Moon University radio, because the university itself has got a radio whereby we have different programs on environment related topics. So by doing all these management practices at MMU, we can achieve these 5 R's. One, we have refuse, reduce, repair, recycle, then reuse. At MMU, furthermore at MMU, we have also got the Laudato activities. You'll allow me, for the interest of time, to outline them, whereby we have tree planting, cleanup drives, partnerships with local NGOs, research projects on waste management solutions, integration into curriculum, then promotion of eco-friendly transportation options. Then we have involvement in the National Environment Days. As I conclude my part, by implementing these Laudato activities centered around management practices as inspired by the Pope Francis teachings found within the Laudato Si, Mountains of the Moon University demonstrates its dedication towards fostering an environmentally conscious culture among its students' body, while positively impacting neighboring communities through collaborative efforts aimed at achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you very much. I call upon the other participant, that is Gerard, to tell us more about his topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my brother Innocent. My name is Kule Gerard, and I take this opportunity to greet everyone in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm going to take you through awareness, whereby this simply means yes, I'm taking you through awareness, whereby this is the understanding and recognition of preserving the natural environment and the impact of human activities. On this, it means conserving of natural resources like water bodies, conserving the land, reduction of pollution, that is both air, water, and soil. We also look at protection of diversity and ecosystems. We also look at climate change, mitigation and adaptation. Sustainable development and consumption is also vital. So we continue looking at environmental issues whereby deforestation and habitat destruction is also one of the issues that we are trying to combat, whereby we shall also continue to avoid global warming and climate change. We also look at soil erosion and degradation, loss of biodiversity and extinction, air and noise pollution, waste management and disposal. We continue seeing that through awareness, we see that it is important to keep the environment safely, whereby it preserves natural resources for the future generation, protects human health and wealth, supports economic growth and sustainability, enhances quality of life and livelihoods. Yes, we see that there are ways we can promote environmental awareness as the Mountains of the Moon community, where we educate, education and outreach programs, community engagement and participation, media campaigns and advocacy through the use of radio stations, televisions. We have art and cultural expression, whereby we carry out functions like cultural gala, which involves use of physical features like the trees, which portray the art of importances of afforestation. We continue by carrying out social media and online platforms. Then individuals ought to do and reuse and recycle initiatives, conserve energy and water, use public transport or walk bike, choose eco-friendly products, support sustainable agriculture, plant trees and support afforestation. As I conclude, we all ought to make the world a better place to live in by planting trees. Yours sincerely, Kule Gerald. Thank you very much.
Brother Adolf, that is my team from MMU, and that was our presentation. So we appreciate you for this conference, and we pledge to be there always when we are invited. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doreen and the team.
Go ahead, Brother Adolf. Are we going back to us? Thank you so much. Let's have yet another round of applause for all our friends who stayed up late at night, who stayed up so late. Fantastic. Who has questions? I want to thank you so much for this, such a multi-dimensional set of presentations that get into all of these issues that we've been talking about. Tree planting, how it helps us in so many different dimensions, waste management, and that's a great lead into our next speaker. But does anybody have any questions online or here for the speakers so far? The reason I think it's such a great lead into our next speaker is that food waste is a tremendous part of waste in general. The food that we create and that we consume has a huge carbon footprint. And if we can obviously reduce the the amount of food that we have to grow in order to feed ourselves, we're going to make a tremendous impact. And so Dr. Ben Mealy is here. I don't know exactly. I think the theme of his talk is a composting method that has fantastic implications for sustainable gardening. And with that, I will hand it over to Dr. Mealy. Thanks.
Dr. Mealy, I just want to let everyone know that for anyone who wants to contribute to Laudato Si Youth Initiative, feel free to share your email so that we can reach out to Brother Adolf and his team, and you can share the wonderful things that you all probably are doing for care of creation. Thank you, Brother Adolf.
I think before the next presenter coming in, we request to sign out because we are running in for another activity, and for the team in Uganda, it's running late. So kindly allow me pass on my vote of thanks to Sister Martha, you, Sister Mary Lou, and Dr. Hooker, and Dr. Millie. I'm happy to see you too. I had a note from Andy about you, and I assure you we do a lot. We shared a lot of ideas, especially the issue of waste management, especially food waste, and it has helped us a lot in our schools. So this is one club that represents more than 17 other clubs which exist. So they have amazing stories and experiences, but we are growing as a team, and we also wanted to broaden our voices. We want to see more young people get into adapting these simpler ways of responding to the need to care for creation within the limits of our means and see what impact we can create to our world. So thank you so much. I'm happy to meet you today all, and I will request also to sign out. I run for another activity in a few minutes.
Thanks, Brother Adolf and your team.
Welcome.
We're very grateful.
Okay, bye.
See you again, Brother Adolf. Hello, welcome. Let's